So this is Bissell's spot cleaning lineup, and they're all Bissell Little Green machines, but they're gonna be a little bit different because you got things like the Mini here, right? The Mini is ultra small, and it's gonna even come in a cordless edition. You have things like the Little Green Pet Max, which is also coming in a cordless edition, and it's gonna be coming with a Proheat edition as well. Then you have the larger versions, which are going to be on the Bissell Little Green Pro and the Bissell Little Green Hydrosteam Pet. And finally, you have the classic, the Bissell Little Green machine right here. What Bissell's really trying to do is make a spot cleaner for every purpose. So if you are someone who has a high traffic area that has a lot of oily stuff, you're gonna want units that are coming with the steam here, like the Hydrosteam. It's gonna be better for oily or organic material, especially sticky stuff. Even the new Proheat here is gonna be able to heat itself faster because in 30 seconds, it's gonna heat up the water versus old units that were just using the motor heat to kind of heat up the water, but it would take too long. Now, we're gonna get to units that are gonna be coming with a lot more versatility because of the smaller size and smaller package. So we're looking at the Pet Max here, and these are gonna have a smaller footprint overall than what you get with the Bissell Little Green Pros or the Classic, and that's because they're smaller. And what's confusing about the Bissell Little Greens is that when you see Pet in the name, you're gonna say, wow, that must mean there's a difference between Pet and the non-Pet editions, especially when the Pet editions are going to cost more money. But you'll find that they're basically the same model, but you'll find that the only difference is going to come down to which accessories you're getting with, or you may get a few more trial size bottles. Comparing the Bissell Little Green Classic to the Bissell Little Green Mini and the Mini Cordless, you'll notice that the Classic is going to be wider. Starting with the Bissell Little Green Mini, it's going to weigh 7 pounds relative to the 9.7 pounds of the Classic and the 7 pounds on the Bissell Little Green Mini Cordless. It's also going to be coming with a 4-inch hand attachment here. It's going to be made out of this matte seafoam material, and then in the center here, it's going to have that shiny glossy material, something similar to what you find on the Bissell Little Green Classic. And a lot of people who are seeing these two tanks will think that, hey, I could fill it all the way to the top with dirty water. It is not the case. You can only fill it up to here with dirty water, so the max line. Past that, you need to empty it. It's the same thing on the Classic, so the max line is not going to be that high. So even if you have a 14-ounce tank or a 50-ounce tank, the max line is going to be considerably smaller, so you will have to empty it a lot faster on your Mini than on your Classic. The other thing about your dirty water tank is that if you want to clean it, you can clean it by emptying it and removing the inner pieces. That is something that is way more difficult on the Mini. On the Mini, there's no easy way to clean this. You can't really pop off the bottom. The hose length on your Mini is going to be 4 feet versus 4.5 feet on your Bissell Little Green. Have a 12-foot cord on your Mini versus a 15-foot cord on your Classic. Side by side, you're just getting more material on the Classic, and I think that shows in terms of the build quality, because the build quality to me just feels a little bit better. This is the Bissell Little Green Mini Cordless, which is more in common with this, which is going to be the Bissell Little Green Cordless, than it does with the Bissell Little Green Mini. The Bissell Little Green Mini Cordless weighs 7.2 pounds versus 7 pounds on your Bissell Little Green Mini, and when you pick them up, you will not be able to tell any difference in overall weight. There is going to be a lot of similarities actually between the Bissell Little Green Cordless to my left and the Little Green Mini Cordless, and we'll see that just based on the components. So we're going to turn these around, and if you're taking a look, it's also going to look very similar from the back. They have large handles. Your Pet here is going to be coming with the larger tanks. The key difference is that your Mini is coming with those 16-ounce tanks versus on your Max Pet and your Max Pet Cordless, which are coming with the 32-ounce tank, so double the size. The hose is also going to be longer, so this hose, you can see that it wraps around one more time over what you get with the Mini, so you get about 4.7 foot hose here versus a 4 foot hose on your Mini. A closer look at the motor and the voltage. This is going to have a 29.7 volts output with 1 amp motor. The Bissell Little Green Max Pet also has 29.7 volt, 1 amp. And then when you're looking at the Bissell Little Green Mini, it's actually a derivative of this, which is going to be the Bissell Little Green Max Pet. It has more in common with the Max Pet than it does with the Bissell Little Green machine. And that is very surprising. It took some of the best properties of the Classic, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we stand up and I put my camera above it, it's not that different in terms of overall size. And that's something that you have to recognize when you're buying this. So when you're trying to figure out should you buy the Bissell Little Green Mini, you should be asking yourself, do I need it or should I get the Bissell Little Green Max Pet? Because the Max Pet is going to come with larger capacity, it's going to be more powerful, it's going to come with a longer hose, it comes with a longer cord. So this is the Bissell Little Green Max Pet, the Cordless, and the Proheat Pet. So they all have the same design, they all come with the same tanks, but they just have different features. So if you're looking at your Max Pet, it's going to be coming at 8.2 pounds, and it's going to be about 12 inches tall, 12 inches wide, and 8.3 inches deep approximately. It's going to be corded and uses a 3.3 amp motor, and it's coming with 32 ounce clean water and dirty water tank capacity. The hose length is going to be 4.8 feet, and the cord length is going to be 15 feet. And that is actually going to be the same across all three of these units. The key differences between them is actually going to be on their features and accessories. So on your Max Pet, if we turn it around, it is coming with a Max Pet brush here that has the ability to clean itself at the same time. So it has the Hydro Rinse, and it can be on spray mode or on the Hydro Rinse mode. You have the Bissell Little Green Proheat Pet that gives you the ability to produce heat. So this is going to be better if you have oily food stains, you have things like organic food stains. It's not going to be as effective as the Bissell Little Green Hydrosteam Pet, and that comes down to temperature. And you have the Bissell Little Green Cordless, which is going to be very, very effective as a cordless model. But you have to remember, do you need cordless? Because once this battery dies in about 20 minutes, you're going to need to have 4 hours to fully charge it again to use it again. So that's going to be the main differences between the three. And this is the Bissell Little Green Hydrosteam Pet and the Bissell Little Green Pet Pro, the largest, most powerful spot cleaners in the Bissell lineup. Both units are coming with a dirty water tank of 51 ounces and a clean water tank that can hold up to 64 ounces. The hoses are going to be 5 foot long, and both of them are going to have areas where you can house your attachments. On your Hydrosteam, you're going to get a tool engineered just for the steam, as well as a Hydrosteam attachment here. Look at them side by side. You'll notice that basically everything is the same about them. There's no difference in the body, no difference in the handles. There is a difference in the steam functions. The Hydrosteam is giving you 3 distinct cleaning options. You get steam wash, and that's going to be for tough, oily messes. You get steam, and that's going to be refreshing upholsteries as well as pre-treating. And you have your wash, which is going to be like a conventional spot cleaning machine. The secret of your Bissell Hydrosteam Pet over the Bissell Little Green Pet Pro, even though they share a lot of similar characteristics, is that because it has steam, it's able to dry a lot faster. If you're talking about the hose length, both of them are coming with 5-foot hoses, which are going to be the longest in its class, and they're going to be coming with 15-foot cords that you're going to be wrapping around on the sides as such. And just to show you a good example, if I take out the clean water tank on our Hydrosteam here, and I take out my clean water tank on my Pro here, I'm going to switch them out. So this is on the Hydrosteam tank, the Pro tank, and we lock it in. Well, could you tell the difference? The only way you could tell the difference is from the top, because they're different color on the top, but the parts are interchangeable. So that just shows you how close they are in common. We're going to test our Bissell Little Green machines on this light colored rug here. So we're going to run our spot cleaning test here. We have coffee, we have Fairlife protein shake, we got some ketchup, and we're going to try it with some soy sauce. So 4 very common things that really do spill and also cause large stains. So we have designated areas for our Bissell Little Green machine so that we know which one is doing what, and we can track our results. And if you're wondering why I'm so confident doing a test like this and ruining my carpet or rug here, is actually because I'm 100% sure I can get these stains out. So we have our coffee, our ketchup, our chocolate protein shake, and our soy sauce. So very difficult stains to pick up, and we're going to see which one of our machines can handle that. I'm going to focus on how easy each of the units are and just share with you my personal experience using them. So if you're talking about the Hydrosteam, because it has the steam functionality, it's going to be quite easy in order to break up stains or break up sticky messes. But if you're using this on organic messes, you have to be careful that it's not going to be like red wine. You're not going to use the steam on something that if you combine it with heat, it's going to set the color in even better. So as you see on the ketchup, because I use it with the steam, the ketchup was actually setting inside of the carpet. And that actually made it very difficult to remove, and it took multiple passes in order to even break it up. And at the end of the first run here, it was actually still stuck in and it was still discolored. But the difference is going to come down to once you see me going towards the coffee, as I inject the steam inside, it actually does a great job just lifting it out. So it's not going to be for every stain, but for like tomato sauce, ketchup, for wine, make sure to not use steam. Next, we're going to do our Bissell Little Green Mini Cordless. We're going to fill it up with solution and see how well it does. We're going to use some hot water here as well. And the easy thing is that because it's so light and it's cordless, I can put it anywhere, something you cannot do with any of the other models. If you're talking about battery care, what it does is that when you're not using it, it's actually going to idle. And then as it thinks you're going to use it, it's going to spool up more. So here, we're just going to start using our unit here, pre-treat our areas. And now we're using it with warm water. One of the most surprising things about the Bissell Little Green Mini Cordless is that it's basically the Bissell Little Green Cordless. It just has a little bit less battery life, but the suction power, the motor, all the components seem relatively familiar, if not identical. I think it just comes down to the shape function here, and it did a good job picking up majority of the stains. It's not going to have the same suction power you get on something like the Hydrosteam, and I would not hesitate to use the Mini Cordless on older stains, as well as if I had more difficult set stains like wine or carrot juice. I think you'll actually find that you're going to have a lot of success with it. So this is going to be on our Bissell Proheat Pet. I'm going to turn it on first. I'm going to turn on the heat. The Bissell Proheat Pet was the biggest disappointment of the group because it's updated. Supposedly it heats the water faster, but after trying it, I actually think they spent too much focus trying to heat that water. It doesn't really get that warm. I don't know if it's going to be that much more effective than using lukewarm water or cold water, honestly, because in personal use here and testing it out, it just didn't have enough suction power to lift a lot of the stains. And comparing the Proheat's performance against even the Max Pet, which is very similar, I would say that the Proheat does not perform as well, and it just feels like it doesn't have the same suction level, and it could be it's just dedicating some of its power to the heat and not to suction. And nowhere was that more evident than on the Ketchup. Look, it's barely lifting the stain out, and we had to come back and do it again and again and again. And with the existence of the Hydrosteam, I'm not sure why you would get something like the Proheat anymore. And if we're talking about the Bissell Little Green Max Pet, it's going to be the value king here because I really see this on sale. I see it on clearance sale sometimes because it's really the jack of all trades. It's not going to be the best of the bunch. It's not going to be the most iconic of the bunch like you get on the Bissell Little Green Classic, but it was able to lift all the stains out. It didn't completely remove the coffee stain, but we can always come back and do a second run. Next, let's talk about the Bissell Little Green Mini, which is going to be the preferable size for a lot of people based on the design, because actually it's going to be almost the same size as what you get with the Bissell Little Green Max Pet. So it's going to get a little bit confusing here, but you see how well it lifts a lot of our stains out. It has comparable performance to the Bissell Little Green Classic. even though it's going to be smaller than the Bissell Little Green Classic. And if you find spot cleaning or cleaning your upholstery or taking these spot cleaners around to be annoying, this is probably going to be your favorite one.
We have our Bissell Little Green machine.
And let's compare it
this
to
is going to be the
Green Classic,
control of our group, and I'm going to show you how well it works.
OG, because it's going to be powerful, it's going to do a great job, and it actually gives you that 3-inch cleaning tool, which in my opinion just concentrates the suction in a more narrow stream. So you're actually going to be having a easier time extracting. And if you wanted the cordless version of the Bissell Little Green Max Pet, well, you can always get the Bissell Little Green Cordless. It just doesn't come with the same pet tool, so that's going to be a knock against it. But you're getting very good battery life here. It's going to surprise you how long the battery lasts for. And in my personal use with it, because I've had it for over a year, and I would say that the Bissell Little Green Mini and the Bissell Little Green Cordless have just about the same performance levels, where they're going to be able to remove the same stains. It's just one is going to be cordless and one is going to be corded. Is it better than the Classic? Well, that's going to be up to you and what you're looking for. I think in terms of value, suddenly the Classic looks better. And the real question is, can you name a better cordless spot cleaner than the Bissell Little Green Cordless? Because I certainly can't. So what we've learned actually is that when you're taking a closer look at how everything cleans, the Hydrosteam really does do the best job in terms of cleaning everything, as long as you don't set in the stains, and that's because it uses the heat. And if you're using hot water, actually it will clean the stain better because it's going to activate the soap better and it's going to do a better job. You notice that most of our units had the hardest time with coffee, and I think that's primarily because coffee is going to be dark, especially if it's black, so you do have to use a lot of solution and stay there. So we're going to do a second run with all our machines here to remove the coffee stains. And if you're looking at the results here, we ran the machines twice, so we let it dry one time and then we ran it again just to make sure that we got everything out, something that you might probably do in real life. So ultimately, what's our verdict on which of these spot cleaners is going to be the best for you or your home? Well, it's going to come down to your overall purposes. Because if you're using them mostly for oily stains or organic stains, and your house is messy and you got to use it regularly, I'm going to recommend that you either go with the larger tank systems like on the Pro model here, or the Bissell Little Green Hydrosteam for people who are looking for something more portable, and size matters. That means you live in a home that doesn't have a lot of cabinet space, doesn't have a lot of closet space. You live in a city like New York City, or you have a studio, but you're always finding that your carpets or rugs or your furniture is getting dirty. Well, then you might be better off getting the minis. Because if the cleaning area that you are cleaning is just normally 1 foot by 1 foot, that means just like a square, and you're just using this maybe every week, 2-3 weeks, you're going to be better off getting the mini because you don't have to worry about how much space it's taking inside of your closet. And then which one is the best value for these Bissell spot cleaners? It's actually going to turn out to be the Bissell Spot Clean Max or the Bissell Spot Clean Classic. Because depending on where you're purchasing and when you're purchasing these units, you might see these on sale for like $80, $90. And finally, which one do I recommend as the best overall value from Bissell? It's still going to be, and not surprisingly, it is still going to be the Bissell Little Green machine. The Bissell Little Green machine is such a good product because Bissell has perfected the manufacturing of this product. So just hear me out. Think of something like a car or a headphone or some device that they have been producing year by year to the point where you're just getting less errors, you're getting less manufacturing problems, and you still have great durability as well as great performance. So where would you normally see that? You would see that in like a car. Think of a Toyota, right? A Toyota Camry. Those cars are meant to last you a very long time and they keep their value. But ultimately the one that you choose in this Bissell Little Green lineup, they're all going to be able to remove a majority of the stains or spots you might have. And the reason why they can do that is that they do something that you normally can't do. These are going to be washing machines for spots, because if you wash something like your clothes or your dishes, what happens? It sprays water, it's going to agitate, and then it's going to extract. That means it's going to remove that water and do it again. If you're doing it yourself, most likely you're going to be adding water, you're going to scrub that floor, you're going to let it dry and let the stain set, because you're not going to do a good job extracting the stain. So thanks for watching, everybody. We have more Bissell spot cleaners. This is all that we can fit in this video, but we'll keep them coming. So thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button below, and we'll see you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, 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 guys. Bye.